I offer my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, and young children, Jai Sai Ram. I feel blessed to have the opportunity to share my precious moments with our beloved Bhagavan. I came into the Sai fold about 10 years ago when my wife enrolled our children into the Bal Vikas program at Slav Sai Center. It was, however, not until after attending Swami's 94th birthday celebration event at one of the then newly formed Sai groups when I realized that Swami had something more for me. Swami came in my dream in December 2019 and mentioned that I will play an active role for him. I still couldn't forget that night when I woke up from my sleep and Swami's message was reverberating in my mind for some time. Fast forward 2022, I took on an office bearer role at Slav Sai Center within Region 2. I'm Mahesh and I'm currently the Center President at Slav Sai Center in Region 2. After the message that I had from Swami, I wasn't expecting anything instantly. We all had the unwanted guest COVID in our lives in January 2020, where everything switched to remote and online learning. We were focused on staying safe and we were all continuing our regular activities at that point in time. The thought of Swami's message slowly moved to the back burners of my brain. As a center, all our activities were being held remotely and everything switched to online. We were focused and involved in helping and carrying out seva activities together with our SSC children when it was safe to do so. During that period, I started getting involved in a number of seva activities where I was working together with our SSC parents, children, and our center members, and we were collecting items for charities and people who were in need of items across different countries. After being involved in a number of seva activities, I felt that the work undertaken by our SSC children had to be recognized well, and I came forward with the consideration to take on the center president role in 2022. At this point, I still had no recollection of the dream that I had in December 2019 when Swami mentioned that I will play an active role for him. As soon as I took on the center president role, I was very much involved in the center's operational activities and getting to know more members within the region and the national team. We were collectively planning events for the year. As a center, we were formed in the year 1996 and we were discussing the need to have a celebration to mark our 25th anniversary. We called it the 25+1 anniversary as the event was being held exactly after 26 years of existence. Whilst planning for this event, we wanted to do something unique and we planned for new initiatives such as video messages from previous office bearers, climate change competition for our SSE children, time capsule moment, etc. One of Swami's students and I came up with the idea of recording video messages from previous office bearers for the 25+1 anniversary celebration event, where we asked members to answer 3 questions in 3 minutes. The questions that we phrased for our office bearers were, how did you come into the Sai fold? Manav Seva is Madhav Seva, and how would you relate yourself to an event where you were involved in Seva activities? And finally, what is your message for the future generations? When these questions were put forward to previous office bearers, a few devotees came to me and mentioned that the questions were rather too hard and they found it difficult to come up with answers instantly. I then started wondering why was it difficult, and I started putting myself into the task of answering these three questions by myself within 3 minutes. I was able to answer the second question instantly and the third question, whilst I also had an answer about how I got into the sci-fold immediately. I still felt there was something missing before phrasing the final answer. After some deep thoughts and jogging my memory back to a few years down the lane, I was able to recollect Swami's message that I had in my dream, where he wanted me to play an office bearer role for him. It was not until that day that I realized what Swami had planned for me in his fold. As an active worker for the center, I have been taking Swami's blessings and guidance on all aspects that I have done for the center, and we were able to transform and streamline some of our activities at the center. There are a number of occasions at our center and beyond where I personally felt the presence of Swami's divine intervention. I'd like to just mention one particular example where we felt Swami's divine intervention. This was in the first weekend in January 2024 when we were reconvening our activities in the new year. As a center president, it was my responsibility to make any announcements and or share updates to devotees every weekend. On this particular day, I had nothing planned in my mind as I was focused on praying to Swami for one of my relatives who was critically ill at that point in time. After the bhajans, as I stood up and I started walking towards Swami's altar, a thought, or rather a message, came up in my mind instantly to make announcements about the Home Bhajan initiative. I walked up and offered my prayers to Swami and announced the Home Bhajan initiative as I felt this message came up in my mind for a reason. As soon as I started talking about the Home Bhajan initiative, I could see one of our devotees sitting in the hall who was in tears. I wasn't sure why she was in tears, and I started wondering if I'd said something wrong. After the arti, I took vibhuti and I went up to the devotee and asked why she was in tears during the announcement. The devotee replied, Bhaya, I was only praying to Swami this morning and during the entire bhajan session that he hasn't come to my house and I wanted to invite him to my house. Your message about the home bhajan was Swami's answer to my prayer instantly. I told the devotee that I did not plan on making that announcement that morning, and this was a thought that came to my mind at the very moment when I was walking towards Swami's altar. We felt the power of Swami's divine intervention on that day. On that particular day, when we left the center, I noticed that my vibhuti on my forehead was in the shape of heart. I have never seen something like that in my life, and some of the devotees and my family members felt that Swami has blessed me to spread the message of love. There were numerous such instances in the last 3 years where I have personally felt Swami's divine presence and his guidance. He has been blessing me in my thoughts and has answered a number of questions in the form of vibhuti. With Swami's blessings, I had the opportunity to be in Parthi last summer when I was also able to meet and interact with a number of office bearers and senior members at Parthi. I felt even more closely connected to Swami after this visit. I'd like to conclude with a message to everyone that as we continue our journey in the Sai fold, we must never forget that Swami is always omnipresent. If we have the faith and if we surrender to Him, He's there to guide us always. My loving Sai Rams to everyone.